Good morning, everybody. My name's Dave Wagner. I'm a chemical engineering professor at San Jose State University. And I picked the senior capstone course to try out this. Turned out to be a bolder move than I anticipated, especially for the capstone course and ABET and all the accreditation stuff kind of relying on it. So I couldn't mess up. Um, so Again, about this course, if you're not familiar with this kind of capstone course, it is the major chemical plant design course that chemical engineers take their senior year. Of course, we integrate global and social issues within engineering, provide context for them, and overall, the technical skill sets focus on anything from technical equipment and economic evaluation of chemical processing plants and how to design some of those and basically put together very large, expensive Lego sets. That's the way that I try to introduce it to my students. So what I initially did is it's a kind of a mixture of a lot of the stuff that we learned last summer and throughout the entire year, and numerous articles and books that I've read. But I implemented different types of grading criteria. So the first one, limited point-based categories. I did this last fall in the first section of the class, and I actually instituted it now for the current section 2. So only exams are really point-based. A lot of credit or no credit things like peer reviews and simple check-in assignments that focus on safety and ethics. So this kind of leading down a correct path or an incorrect path. And most assignments or everything else uses an effective grading system of 1, 2, 3, 4, or what I used was exemplary, competent, developing, and beginning categories. I know that there's some controversy on using exemplary versus competent, but I actually had an old rubric, so I stuck with it for this time. I allowed resubmissions of work for the first time ever. Since I teach grad students and seniors, the bar was set a bit higher, but I give the resubmissions a chance, and that actually proved to pay off. More for the students, of course, than me. And more weight was put on formative assessments to reduce the stress of those largest assignments. Talking to a number of students, they worry about exams or final reports and all that kind of stuff, but I wanted to put more weight on the stuff that they can fix rather than more weight on the stuff they can't fix. And this is admittedly a bit perhaps complicated. So it wasn't a straight specifications grading adoption. It was me assigning an A, B, C, D grade with the numerical equivalent, with the weighting and the grading scheme for that category of assessment. So team assignments, for instance, if you had at least 2 exemplary and 1 competent of the 3 assignments, then you get a 4.0 for that section, so you get the full 15 points. The credit, no credit, peer reviews, there were 3 of them for these team assignments. So if you did all 3, you got credit, and you get the full weight of 5 points, and so on. Very similar to a couple of the articles that were showcased last summer in the Canvas course. And this is just an example of that breakdown. So, they had a B level grading for the safety and ethics discussions, with the 15% weighting for the whole grade, it was 11.25 points, and that all adds up to an 80% in the course. And this did, at first it seemed a little aggressive, but it actually allowed me to curve where I needed to or wanted to. I could curve individual categories or the whole class as a whole. And I didn't actually need to. I kind of expected it when I had this little example. So here's an example of an assignment, just a simple process flow assignment. But I had a rubric for everything, and in this case, I kind of adopted the mentality of McNally from from last summer, one of the instructors, where you meet or you did not meet the criteria. If you met the criteria, 8 out of 8, exemplary. And this was an assignment that you could resubmit once for more a higher grade. So sentence level, so a lot of focus on the writing, and not so much with this specific one about the heat required for case A and case B for the simulation components. One of the best things that I did was actually provide a grade tracker because Canvas is very touchy when it comes to the grading schemes. I know quite a bit about Canvas, but the students did not appreciate it, but they did like this, the grade tracker. So this is an Excel screenshot that I have. And so there are drop-down menus, and I lock the cells and everything, so they can't really mess with the code. So it's not going to mess up on them. So anyway, you get 2 no credits for the safety and ethics discussions, and so on. All these grades amount to 75%. Just an example to show for the Excel grade tracker. So the feedback that I got was actually a lot better than I expected. 35 seniors are in the class. 27 filled out the survey that I posted for them, and 26 unanimously, or not unanimously, 26 of them approved of the grading scheme. One was not convinced or was very indifferent, perhaps on my teaching style, but that is not necessarily reflective of specifications grading. So these are just some the feedback that I got. So one of the articles that we went through last summer had these 4 questions. So what do you think about grading method used this fall semester, being specifications grading rather than a point-based system? So, I didn't edit these except for a little bit of grammar where I caught it. But, I believe it was that it was great as it helped me focus on hard or higher unit classes. So they could prioritize a B in my class with perhaps an A in one that's weighted more for their GPA. So I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. Certainly can't blame the students for that one at all. Then the grading system method using the fall semester specifications grading worked well for me personally, since if I met the E grade or the exemplary grade criteria on assignments, you could save time and not have to redo a bunch of stuff. So having everything just fully transparent really helped out with having buy-in from students. Second question on that survey, what aspects of the grading did you think worked well? A lot of grading system outlined a format that was consistent throughout the semester. Everything, and that was more perhaps a teaching style thing. I posted everything to Canvas first week, so they had it all through the semester, all the deadlines, everything. So again, full transparency really, I think, benefited the students. It benefited me, so they couldn't come back and say, oh, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. So then a lot of students, had this one at the top. They like the ECDB or whatever 4 system scale for most of the assignments. And then the lesser assignments, credit, no credit. Third one, what aspects of the grading would you change? A lot of them, let's skip this last one for a second, were perhaps more critical of either my teaching style or the differences between the TA's grading and my grading. So that was outside the realm of specifications grading, which I've changed quite a bit this semester. But 2 of the things that did stand out were that the grade calculation can be confusing when looking at Canvas. Again, the learning management system can be your friend, or it can certainly hurt you when students are expecting one thing and they get another. And then from the student's experience, they can slack off and get which is bad, based on the fact that most of those assignments are group-based. So the fact that there is teamwork as well is always an issue, and trying to address that fairly is something that, me and I think all teachers always try to improve upon. And then just additional feedback that I got, like I said, it was fairly positive. I think there was one student that said something negative, saying, nope, I like the points based because I am an engineer and I can do the math on points. I was like, okay, that's not really helpful at the moment, but I completely understand that perspective, which is why the grade tracker is enormously important, and that you as the instructor put forth the time to figure out where all of the students can mess it up, and what grade they would get with different permutations and everything. So again, a lot of students had similar responses like this. The fact that I allowed resubmissions, they really liked, and it didn't actually have a. I was expecting, that like, oh, if I have to give all A's, then that's fine. But that wasn't actually the case. The distribution was still the same. So kind of reflecting on that, again, early buy-in from students is key and worth taking the time to actually get it. I took an entire class period and then half of the next one to answer other questions when students, to let them know that this was mostly for them, a little bit for me to kind of ease some things, but it still would require a little more work from me. Again, more than 90% of the students preferred specs grading over point-based. Again, learning management systems, getting better at those is what I would recommend, so that you can either turn off all of the points automatic assignments, or basically deactivate all the defaults. And actually, so the key result, of course, is moving to the specs grading system did not actually move my course average GPA. Every other year I've used the points-based system or something very similar, and last fall there's only 3% deviation from the course average GPA. So it was right in line with everything else. There have been at least 35 students to 50 students every year in each cohort. And I'm actually continuing to use this semester, and I will use it for this class here on out, and probably adopt it into my other courses. So thank you very much.